Hello. Sorry, this is a giant teacup. Let me know when you can hear me or see me, and I will start. So when you can see me, just say hi and tell me if you have any questions regarding this topic. We're going to be going over a little.
Sorry, it's a giant. Can you just say hi?
Wow, there's like my phone started playing it. So if you have any questions about this, hi. So if you let me know if you have any questions about this, Sarah. Otherwise, I'm gonna basically today we're gonna do an exercise and just talk a little bit about this topic. So, do you have any questions about this? And then, did you get the printable? I just uploaded it onto the page and under files. So if you need the printable, it's under files. Otherwise, you can just grab a notebook and use that. It's like I can't think without this thing in my hand. So we'll wait a few minutes. Awesome. It's pretty simple, but if you get the printable, it kind of will guide you what we're doing through this little talk. All right, I'll wait like 2 more minutes and then we'll start. There's a little bit of a delay sometimes. And if you hear something in the background, I'm in my office, so there's other people here. Shouldn't be too loud though. All right. All right. I'm gonna go and start. So I'm gonna do like 5 more of these, I think. But the reason I brought this one up forward is because I think a lot of us in this group, I think we mirror each other. We tend to attract what we are, This group is full of a lot of helper types, a lot of people who want to do really big things in the world, and sometimes that means that we are perfectionists. We have really high, awesome, Sarah. We have like really high standards, and we have all sorts of expectations of ourselves. And so I don't know about you. I think there's a lot of you out there that I've worked with. You don't know when to like lay off and rest. You get overwhelmed, and then sometimes with me, I try to do so much, and then I get frozen. I can't move forward. So that is something that we'll be talking about today. On a personal note, I have talked about my health issues. So basically, my body's just freaking out on me and demanding more sleep out of me and all sorts of things like that. So I've really completely taken back all my practices, which is very scary for me. And I literally, my only goal is to sleep 8 hours. I'm obviously not sleep. My son doesn't sleep 8 hours a night, but to be in bed 8 hours. And that's been scary for me to let go of all that because I do a lot of things. I used to have like a 90-minute practice in the morning, do yoga and do all this crazy spiritual stuff, the stuff that you think you're supposed to be doing in order to, I don't know what, be a good person, be in touch, be good at the work I do, all that stuff. But I've noticed that just sleeping has even helped me. My intuition didn't like fade away or anything like that. So That's been helping me. And so something else that's come up in the group is the sorry, I need to turn off my notifications. So something else has come up with the group in a few messages that I've gotten is creating ritual. And that is something that I'm super excited about. So if you're not part of my course talks about all of that. And I don't remember. Yes, you are part of my course, Sarah. So if you have time to dive into some of that. And also in the smaller group of the course participants, we'll be discussing your personal rituals, starting with sacred space. So whatever sacred space, let's start there. So before I babble anymore, though, I was going to try to wait for more people to join, but I'm just going to go ahead and start. I'll just say right now, if you're interested in creating like your personalized ritual, you can either work with me or join the course, and I have a way of doing that in the course, where you like slowly build your own ritual and slowly build your own self-care practices. And the reason we do it kind of gradually is because introducing one thing at a time doesn't overwhelm us. So the first step in that, I will just tell you right now, is to build a sacred space. So after today, and we pick our one word, our one practice, the next step I would say is to build a sacred space in your house. And I won't get into all that because that's a whole nother deal, but there's lots of ways to do that. If you have questions here, you can ask, message me, work with me one-on-one. If you are part of the course, you can open up that discussion in the group, but we will be going over that very specifically to you who decided to be part of that healing circle, I will call it. So first, I would like us to all take a deep breath. So that this time we'll be focused on what you need. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Send that breath to your belly. So many times our breath gets caught up here. Mine has been like that a lot lately, so I've been trying to consciously bring it down to my belly. And place one hand, you can rub your hands together, create heat. Place one hand on your heart, one on your belly. And say to yourself, I trust you. So breathe in. I trust you. Say your own name the second time. I trust Rosemary. Okay, so take out your notebook, or you can, if you don't have a pen near you, just start thinking. Write down what you want. And I'm actually going to do this exercise along with you. I like to do this every 3 months at least. I like, honestly, love doing this kind of work all the time, but every 3 months at least I like to check in and say what I want. Sometimes it's super clear. Sometimes you're going to have a huge list, pages. And I find the more you have, the more likely I think we are kind of out of touch and more of a perfectionist. We're trying to overwhelm ourselves. So just start writing and see what pours out. It could also be that we haven't made this time for ourselves, so our list is going to be huge. So whatever comes out, start writing. I'll give us like a few minutes. So it might be an awkward pause here, but just keep writing. Keep breathing. When you get anxious, say you trust yourself. Don't worry about being selfish. Don't worry about how it sounds. No one else is going to see this except you. We're not on a pageant, so we don't have to wish peace on earth, though most of us probably do wish that. Even if they're ridiculous, just keep writing. Don't overthink it. Just write and write. And when you're done, you can just comment below that you're finished. Great. Wait, like one more minute. And so you see from there, the next thing is we're going to kind of look for similarities. And so for the next few minutes, kind of circle words that are all like or even the same and start writing any similarities. Similarities. So write anything that you think sounds alike. For instance, for me, a lot of things that come up are freedom, but I also want stability. So those things are at odds sometimes, but so that would be a good connection for me to make freedom, but also that I want stability and security. So just start circling and making themes. And when you're done with that, let me know. And from there, it's pretty natural to like pick a word or a sentence of what kind of bringing together the opposites. You can either write both words separately. I really like for us to pick one word. Don't worry about doing it right. And if you have questions, please let me know. So I'll give an example. So for myself, I'll list my first three. It's pretty obvious. These are really easy, and I'll list one that sounds a little different. To work for myself completely, to be financially free, to make my own life, to have security and stability on all levels. So what I did is I make my own stability. I made a sentence out of that. So this is something you can come back to. So for today, I'm just kind of teaching you how to do it. But does that make sense? I make my own stability. So the word myself, freedom is really important. So does that make sense, Sarah? You're looking for more space, like physical space or space in your schedule or both, maybe. Yeah. So, and that's kind of, and Sarah, we'll be talking about space, like at physical space and all that, in the Self-Care Like a Queen group, the little group. So, yes. So that is, if I were you, that would be like my one word space. That's what I would make space. So even though you're a mother and you have a job and all this stuff is going to come in, that one word space, just keep coming back to that. That's what I would do. And so the next thing would be to pick a self-care practice that supports that. So self-care isn't always, like we have talked about several times, like doing something spiritual at your altar and all that. It's not always, of course, pampering yourself. That's great and all. So looking at your sentence or your word, what self-care practice could support this one goal? So, and then you want to commit to doing that one practice every day for a certain amount of time, at a certain amount of time. So first of all, you're going to pick the one practice that supports this goal, and then you're going to pick the one time of day and how long you'll commit to that goal. So for instance, if you really wanted to learn yoga and become better at your practice with yoga, starting with a 90-minute practice is going to be, way too long. You're going to get fed up with yourself and all that. So in the example of stability, I make my own stability. Something I've been doing is every day, and my first primary need is sleep. So I'm going to pick sleep as like that surpasses everything. But once I have worked on that, and in March, I think I can start picking up something else, is to everything that comes to me from my business or from my work, acknowledging all my hard work, writing all of that down every day, and writing how much I have to reach that goal. So like literally writing what I've been given and not, and being grateful. So does that make sense? For you, Sarah, for space. So your self-care practice could be daily looking for a space. It could be that simple. And as you, for 30 minutes every morning or evening, you work on that idea of space, creating space in your life. So it sounds super simple, but that's what we want to do. Does that make sense? So for me, my self-care practice is acknowledging what I have been given and watching it grow. And that's kind of obscure. So from there, I would say I would make, I'm really into this thing called bullet journaling. I don't know if there's any other dorks out there, but I would make a log. Like, this is this is actually hard for me. I have a lot of money issues. So what I made that day, I have a goal of this. Instead of writing goal or something like that, I write incoming. Like, I know what's coming to me. And it's not outrageous. It's not like $5 million. It's something I truly believe that my work is worth. And both my job and my business. And I write down how much is given to me. And then I'm become grateful for it, instead of like wondering when I will be financially free and able to work myself and not have my son in daycare one day, I hope. So instead of panic, writing what I've been given gives me kind of a control over it, and acknowledgement and the gratitude practice. So just that one act of writing what I've been given every single day, noting that it's coming no matter what, is helping me feel less trapped. So, and I will say on one note that I did that, and we were really struggling with money one month, and I just did that, and I wrote everything that was coming my way, and that I knew it was coming. I wrote a goal. My goal was literally so we wouldn't be destitute. I wrote exactly what we needed to pay our bills, every single bill, even ones I had no idea how we were going to pay. I wrote that down. I wrote incoming this amount of money, and then every little amount that we got, I wrote it down, and actually within a few days I made that. And I still don't understand how it happened, but my work is still new. I'm new at working with people, and my job is just went back full time. So those are all things I'm doing to work toward this, but I'm also trusting myself in the universe or whatever to open a door for me. So that's a whole nother law of attraction talk that I am still coming to terms with. I don't necessarily believe it all. But so what my point is, so trusting that whatever you do, you're writing it down in your log. Every day I will do yoga for 5 minutes for a month. You don't literally have to write it down, but you do yoga for 5 minutes for a month, then you're trusting that you will get your yoga practice up to what you want it to be. So mine was like literally money, that I needed to make more money so that our family survived and all that. I literally wrote that down. And then I made it. I just had to trust that it was there. So those 5 minutes that you do every day, those really matter. Those reach to your goal. Those will help you reach your goal. So every single day, Sarah, like five minutes, 30 minutes a day, working on that idea of space. It's not that exciting, right? Maybe it is for you. Sometimes these picking one thing isn't that exciting. Me working with money is horrible. It's not exciting at all. I can't. But it's becoming more exciting because it represents financial freedom. Those 5 minutes of yoga represent a longer yoga practice. They represent not being sore all the time, that represents less anxiety. So these little bitty steps that we do every single day represent something much greater. And so the perfectionist in us wants to write a huge list of things that we want to do. I want to do that all the time. I will fill every second of my day if I want to. If I am really being hard on myself, I will fill every minute of my day with things that I feel like I'm supposed to do. I read these articles about how to be a productive human being, how to be happy, blah, blah, blah. And there's all these lists. One list I saw was like 100 things you should do as a whatever. We have to ignore those lists, and we have to keep checking in on what we truly want. We have to check in on that one thing we can do at that one time, and trust that every dollar, every minute, everything, little bitty thing we do will build to something greater. So that is why I did this exercise. Do you have any questions on that? Is that still obscure, or is that making more sense? I know I babbled for a second. I got kind of lost, but for me, that is what I'm working on currently. Again, I feel like I'm always coming back to this, but and I will share what I wrote. So I make my own stability as kind of my sentence. My one thing is my goal. My practice to reach that is acknowledge what I have been given and watching it grow. That one thing is equaling more trust for yourself. Yes, I think I spoke to that a little earlier. Sometimes we get overwhelmed and then we just do nothing. Like I'm either like, these are my 3 modes. Full force, doing everything and doing it well because I can handle a lot. My health is teaching me that I shouldn't be doing all that. And then there's the other thing where I can't handle it all and I burn out, and then I just freeze and I just don't do anything. So yeah, so that's why we pick one thing, and it sounds like, oh, we'll never get anything done if we just pick one thing, right? So what I would challenge myself, what I would challenge you guys to do is to like really commit to that one thing. Just do that one thing. If there's extra time in your day, great, read all the classics. I don't know what your goals are, but if there's extra time, sure, you can invest in those other goals. There's something else called the 3-month year. I don't know if you guys know that, if I'm even saying it right, but basically breaking your year down into 3-month increments. And so those of us with a lot of ideas and a lot of things that we want to do, focusing on one thing for 3 months, that's so hard for me to do. So at the very least, focus on this next thing until our next meeting, which will be in 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks, focus on this one thing. Focus on space. I will be focusing on stability and freedom. How do I create my own stability? So does that work? I mean, I think we get overwhelmed because we expect too much of ourselves, and that's and we want to give it our full attention, right? So, but what can you commit to every day? You can commit, 30 minutes, 5 minutes a day, right? You can commit that to one thing. What we can do is look at our schedule. We have 30 minutes, really only 30 minutes to ourselves a day, guaranteed, right? And then try to squeeze in those 100 things that are expected of us as a good human being. So yeah, picking that one thing. And I know this is something I'm working on too with clients, is I if you've worked with me before, my follow-ups are like a million pages, like 20 pages. Um, and then people won't come back to me because they think that they haven't done that work yet, so they need to come back when they finished it. And so I'm trying to not push. So as I work on this, that means that I will be working on this with you guys. So I'm learning this, and I will be trying to scale it back and trying to make things more realistic. So I just have a lot of ideas. So I don't know if you've ever worked with me. I would love your opinion on my follow-ups. I know that they're really thick, like with information. So that's something I'm working on. So if we could make a plan instead, like for 3 months, you will do this thing, and you can even for these 2 weeks pick that one thing no matter what, right? But then after you've grown with that, you can add one more thing, you know. And for 3 months, you have a gradual increase of what you are reaching, you know. So it's not just like, do all the things and then you just give up because it's too much. So we don't want to give up on our dreams, you know. We want to be able to focus, even if for 1 or 2 weeks we're focusing on such minimal things. It's ridiculous. I'm literally focusing on sleep, and now I will be writing down again, acknowledging what I've been given. So that's my things right now. So do you have any more questions? Feel free to comment below if you have questions. And then if you are not signed up for my course, I'm going to leave it at $25 the rest of the day. I'm toying with like a sliding scale option. The only reason that it doesn't exist is because the technology doesn't exist for me to do that. I have to like set a price. So if you really cannot afford the course, reach out to me. I will make it work somehow for you. But it is going to be going up to $47. That is still really low for a course, but and then there's going to be one more jump in price, to be honest with you, because I'm adding yoga, and that's a lot of work to add that. So I need to make sure that I respect my time. Time actually does equal money, you know? So right now, today, I'll leave it up for $25. I'm going to figure out how to do the sliding scale. Otherwise, the course is $47 now after today. But like I said, in the Self-Care Like a Queen group, we'll be discussing like how to make your own sacred space, how to create your own rituals, self-care rituals. And it's going to be more of a circle where we talk. And then if you're in Kansas City, March 25th is Empress, my new yoga class that's happening monthly. So I think that's all for now. If you have any more questions, reach out to me. I hope this wasn't a muddled mess, but I hope it's fairly clear. Write your goals down, pick a sentence or a word or 2 words, pick a self-care practice to reach those goals, a daily ritual, daily routine, 5 to 30 minutes. I think it's pretty reasonable for most of us to do that every single day. And I didn't mention this, but have a backup plan. So for instance, if my son wakes up at like 4 a.m. and doesn't go back to sleep, my goal is to like go or wake up earlier, when I was having my yoga practice. So it was like, and then so if I didn't do that one practice in the morning, then I did it at night. So if I didn't do yoga in the morning, I would do it at night. So always have a backup plan. If neither one of them work, if you've had a chaotic day, it's okay. Start over again the next day. But if you have a backup plan always. When I had Sage just at home, I had meditation. It would be in the morning, noon, or at night. It would happen one of those times. And so I feel like having even a backup plan is great. So if no one has any more questions, I'm going to be on here for 1 more minute, and then we will close it out. So with a little bit breathing, let's take a deep breath in. If you feel anxious at all, overwhelmed by all this, let it go. Come back to your one word. Rub your hands together and put your hand on your heart and your belly. You're doing to trust that this one practice will get you to where you need to be. You trust yourself fully. You trust your intuition to guide you to what your practices should be. You let go of any overwhelm. Trusting that it will all work out. For the next 2 weeks, we commit to doing this one practice. And if there's time, we can do more. But at the very least, we do this one practice. Remembering at the root of all of our desires should be our freedom, our desires, what we want, not what we read and others expect of us. Thank you guys.